Hello again everyone, Mary Rose here at Stitch Bliss Corner, and it's Sunday the 2nd of December 2018 and the Christmas wreath has just gone on the front door. Now I do have a finish on dragons, but first of all I want to thank everyone who comes back to visit me. And anyone who's new, welcome. I'd also like to thank very much all of you who gave suggestions and observations on my last video when I was talking about dragons, because I basically stitched myself into a corner with dragons because I let my imagination run wild in the middle part of the piece, and then I had to solve a real brain teaser for the rest of it. But anyway, I shall get onto that shortly. But before I do, I would just like to mention Charles and Michelle F. from Tampa, Florida, USA, and they or she or he or both of them wanted to know about my Robert Frost piece that I chose for that wonderful poem of his, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. So anyway, I got it because I'm going to have to, well, I'm still going to have to stitch it. I'm going to be probably doing a little bit of this because the Stitchy Room Stitchy Studio Room, it's very well, it's just about finished. The only thing is that the light that we've got, it's a good light and it illuminates the room quite well, but Harlequin isn't quite satisfied. He thinks I need, flaming globes. I need a really bright light in there, because I've got a dimmer on there that I can turn down if it's too bright. So anyway, that's arrived now, and now we'll have to chase the electrician to put it up. But I might just give it a try anyway, to do a tour of the Stitchy studio with the existing light and see if it's good enough. And if it is good enough, then I'm envisaging that next weekend I can take you around the Stitchy room. Now it's not vast by any means. It's a nice little, it's not, an average size room, I guess. Well, it was a bedroom, so so anyway, that's in the offing. If you can contain yourselves another week, I would be very grateful. Now anyway, to get on to this choice that I made for Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, and if you'll indulge me, I shall just read these 4 stanzas for everyone who is a Robert Frost fan. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. It's just beautiful, isn't it? I mean, there's no words. So anyway, this is the piece that I chose for that poem, and I have made a start on it, but it was quite some time ago. So I'll just show you, so just give this person their due. It's called Winter Morning, and it is by Joseph Farquharson and Pinoy Stitch. So anyway, I'll just get out the where I've got so far on my wonderful 18 count Ada. And that's as far as I've got. So it's not, you know, it's not a long way, but nevertheless, it's a footprint. So I just need to put the other foot behind that one. So I'll just put that one over here to minimize the crinkling. Now, on to dragons. Now, here is the wonderful Dragons of Sumatra. Now, I did make a few changes. Down here, there, I just ignore my little scrawls. I just put a few scrawls on there. I really didn't like these. They look to me like bats hanging on something and curled up and asleep. I just didn't like those at all. So I didn't do those. And there are some smaller motifs that I didn't do either. So I just put something different here, and I'll show you that shortly. So there is Dragons of Sumatra by Ink Circles. Okay, so what I intend to do is I'll just show you my finished piece now, and then I'm going to use the overhead, you know, just put it on a flat surface and use my iPad and go over it in more detail for anyone who's interested. So I'll just show you. Here's my first samples that I did, because I wanted to do some rainbow colours. Oh look, I'll show you the thing first and then I'll go into my remarks afterwards. So here's completed Dragons of Sumatra. Now, as you can see, I've used a lot of red there on the borders. And I've only really got one solid border, and that's this here that it's some thread, I'll show it to you, that I couched on there. The actual chart does show quite a few borders in there. There's one along there and down there and across there, but I decided against it. So yes, I must say, I think I wanted this to be a pause piece, meaning that when it's on my wall and I'm walking past, I'm going to just every now and again just pause and have a look at one particular motif on there, or something that'll catch my eye. I know it's extremely busy, so the outside I had to try and pull it together. So what I've done here is, as you know, anyone who's watched this before, I was going to do the colours of the rainbow. So you've got, let's hang on a minute while I just get that right. So, where am I? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. So it goes in a sort of a circle. Now, there was only one section that I frogged, well, two sections I frogged. This upper section up here, I did that in some varying colours, and it, oh, beg your pardon, I'm looking reverse here, that's my trouble. Here, I did that in some other colours and it just didn't work, it just got lost. So I just went back to the red, and I made red in each corner like that. And then here I did have some stitching there, which I'll show you in a minute, and I decided that it just didn't work. So because that on that side, I just wanted to balance that out. But I might go into more detail when I do the overhead, because this is quite difficult to hold this up and talk about it. So what I will do now is insert here. It's a montage that Harlequin has put together for me just to show you the last stages of dragons, and it'll just go through and pause for about 8 seconds or so, and it goes on to the next one and the next one till completion, just to show you my progress through. I wasn't going to do anything like that. It was just really just for me, but then he suggested it'd be an idea to just put it in sequence, which I thought was a good idea. So that's what I'll do now, and I'll be back shortly. I hope I hope you enjoyed that. Now I'm just going to go back now and just give you a few details before I go to the overhead. Now then, make some little notes here. Right, so I used 18 count Ada and this our hoop. And I really like this. It's a Semco hoop. And, you know, I mean, all of hoops are hoops, aren't they? But I quite liked using that one. So I just thought that I would share that with you. Then 18 count black Ada. I used DMC, and I used the colours of the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. And I did use, you know, I mean, with the greens, for example, I used more than one green colour at times as well, which I was going to try and just stick to the 7 main colours and not use any other ones or any other shades. But I found that with the green, for example, I used 3 different shades of green because I found that I just wanted them to look however they've looked. And then the silver that you saw, which I'll show you better under the other light, is this. It's Madeira Metallic, colour 342, number 10. And this came free with a magazine, a cross-stitch magazine, that I got in the 90s. So that came in handy. So that was good. I'll just pop that over there. And then I couched this silver on with this thread that's actually a very, very light green, but you can't see it, so that's fine. I mean, you use what you've got, don't you? Well, I do anyway, if it works. Now, the original idea for dragons came when I was playing around with those rainbow colours, which I've got here. I just had tremendous fun with that. And then this corner up here, that's a dragon's. It's the corner. Um, that corner there. And that's what started it off, as I thought, well, I can use rainbow colours for dragons. And ironically, it's not on there. And that was the inspiration for the whole piece, and it didn't even make it to the final cut. So these things happen, I guess. Now, what else? Oh, yes, I'll just show you the frogged part. It's just there. Those. I just got rid of those. I put them in. I just wanted a contrast or something, but it looked too full on that side compared to the other side. So that went. And anyway, I'll get back to showing you. So what I'll do now then is go to the overhead, and then I will be back. Hello everyone. I'm now in my kitchen and you're under my range hood. So I just brought you out here to give you a better look at dragons of Sumatra. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to go slowly across from top to bottom so that you can just have a little closer look at dragons. Now forgive me a moment while I just go and get my notes. Right, back again. Now, I just thought I would go through my favourite bits. So, Confetti Dragon, this one here, I just really like this. Wait till I just got a little wooden spoon. I'll use that as a pointer. Sorry, I'm whizzing you around a bit here. I just like this bit and those bits there. And I was thinking of doing a real confetti border, but I thought, no, that would just look crazy. But what I did do is a little tribute to him. Up here, I just did one. and that's one of my favourite bits as well. Now, I like the red dragon, and I've put some Krynic on him, but it probably won't show on the internet, but he's got a lot of shiny red Krynic on him. Then the golden dragon, which I really like as well. He's got gold Krynic on him. And I just like this here. It's like he's breathing fire. I quite like that. Now the red lotuses, I call them, they're up here. I like those. And this up here. Also, the red border in general, I'm extremely happy with that. I have to hold this up pretty high to try and get it in, but I mean there's plenty of stills there, I think, with the whole piece in it. Now what else? Oh, Harlequin silver border, that he was keen on me having a silver border, and I really do like that as well. I think he thinks it gives it a bit of a 3D look. The William Morris, I call it, this panel here that ended up looking like a William Morris. Now, and I did leave out some small motifs. Round this dragon here, I left those out because, you know, even I thought that it was getting a little bit too much in there. So I thought a little bit of black, well, black's a colour anyway, isn't it? So I thought, well, I'll just leave out some of the motifs. So I think that's all I have to, oh no, there's one more thing. Down here, I sound like Columbo. That used to be a series in the, well, it went for quite a few years, from the 70s through to the 90s, I think. And he was a detective, and he always used to say just one more thing. And that's how I changed. You know how I said that I changed those batty looking things? I thought they looked like bats, folded up and hanging down. I replaced those with this, and it's just a repeat of this motif along, and then I inverted it for that. So I just thought it suited me better anyway, put it that way. So as I said earlier on, you've got red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, then red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Is there anything else I had to say? I think that's about it. Okay, so I shall now return you back to me at Stitch Bliss Corner. Back again. I just noticed when I was doing that overhead that I missed a little tiny piece, and that was just on here. I missed that little box there. And another little favourite piece that I didn't mention was that there, that little plant. Yes, so that was dragons. And I don't think that I would be a sampler person, because I came across the unfamiliar phenomenon of dozing off while I was stitching, which has never happened to me before. And I think it was the repetition of certain motifs. because I think I'm the sort of person that, I sort of think, well, if you've stitched it once, do you really need to do a row of them? But then when you look at the completed piece, of course, it makes sense and it looks very nice and everything. But I don't think I could do one after another of just repeating. I would imagine for some people it would be very relaxing to be doing that, because you get into the rhythm of your stitching, and you could probably switch off if you were somebody that could repeat motifs, and you sort of memorize them and you don't have to look at your chart anymore. But for me, I think I just like to switch off in another way, where I've got the chart there and I've got my gridding and everything, and I just roll along. And I think also with this particular one, I found that I was making decisions all the time. And whereas most of it was instinct, I mean, it wasn't like I sat there with a big drafting board and thought, well, what'll I do? How am I going to do this? I just left it to how the mood took me, as you might say. But then I did pay for it later, because I cross-stitched myself into a corner. As far as the outer borders, that I didn't even give that a thought when I was stitching the inner part. It didn't dawn on me that the reckoning would come where you had to try and pull it all together. But that was enjoyable just the same, because I had those 7 colours, I knew whatever I put on the outside should harmonise with the inside. I didn't do any of the borders, all these. I mean, that one I've sort of done, but it's in silver. But all these other borders, I just didn't do them. And, it just, this was the only part to me, though, that just didn't really go for me. For some reason, I mean, I'm sure that the person who designed it, there would have been an original in there of the Sumatran friezes that the designer took to put together Dragons of Sumatra. It would have been there, I guess. But for me, for some reason, it didn't work for me. Now, was there anything else? I have my little piece of paper for conclusions. No, I think that's pretty much it now. So now I'm going to go on. As I say, I'm going to do some Robert Frost today. Then I will be doing my stitching studio probably next weekend, providing that everything runs smoothly. And then after that, I want to put a couple of solid weeks in on Heaven on Earth, the wisteria piece, which I'm recording at the end. I'll take a still every day of how far I got with that. And then I want to get back to Harlequin and what else? Well, whatever comes along. You know how it is. So I would like to thank everyone for spending some time with me today. Happy stitching. Look after yourselves, and all the best to you until we meet again. From Mary Rose at Stitch Bliss Corner. Bye for now.